Hey everyone, welcome to the LIBERcast Episode 136. Thank you and gratitude to everybody who are watching the podcast and they're partaking in it in the conversation. Thank you so much. I'm thinking about all these people who are coming back and having great comments and this podcast is a reflection of who I'm becoming and what truth can and through discovery can how can it can change our life forever, just to align being rational and using the feminine aspect, the imagination, and all these beautiful things that we have already inside of us, and awakening all this beauty that we have inside. Sure, it's not easy. We have struggles, things happens, and we have to move on and grow a thicker skin with the time. And this for me, this podcast is a testament for what humans can actually achieve when true consciousness and self-realization can do to a single individual or a group of people who are working together to create change. And true change begins inside of us. So before I'm introducing my guest, Bobby, I'm just gonna do my usual shout out to the One Great Work Network.com. As usual, you can see there's plenty of content creators from everywhere. We have Corey, Chris, who are doing stuff, Cryptric Radio, and you have French people, Dom Tremblay, myself, and Dorian Greens, and other people. A lot of content creators, a lot of important information that it should be discovered and thinking upon this information. And this podcast, this network come from Mark Passio, one of the great magi's of this world. And now I am talking about magi's, I'm talking about great thinkers and content creation wise, and bringing true awareness about natural law and the principles and everything that turns around this. There's not many people who are actually doing what this man did for me, for other people, and all this incredible information may need to be discovered. So I'm gonna put a little link there later for his website, the what on earth is happening.com. So go discover this incredible sea of information. So I'm gonna bring Bobby up. Here we go. Hey, welcome, man. Welcome.
Welcome everybody on this great network that I was on years ago with Fred, and then a couple people I've seen that I remember Don, Truth or Consequence, I think it was. I did one of my first podcasts with the natural law creator years ago, and then Fred popped in and he we did one together, and it was a pleasure. And Fred's asked me to come back, and that's an honor. I really appreciate it. One Great Work Network. Um, it's just an honor to be a part of it, even though I'm not one of the creators, but I am a creator on the outside. I create things and talk about universal law, natural law, talk about cause and effect and consequences, talk about mentalism, the Hermetic principles, which I learned, years ago. I think the first time I went on Mark's found Mark Passio. I'm from Jersey, so I'm right over the bridge of Philadelphia. And when I was 17, I used to go over the bridge, and we used to get buy our leather coats. And Mark probably remembers when we were young, everybody had to have a leather coat, So we go to Philly, South Street, walk down there like 16, 17 years old to the warehouses where they would distribute all garments, and they had all kinds of coats there. So you had to have a leather coat back then. And walking the streets of South Street in Philly and going over there and getting cheesesteaks and hoagies and stuff. So I was right over the bridge. I got introduced to Mark's work probably about 6 years ago, and you know eh, what I really he keeps me going because Fred keeps me going. All these people keep me going because I'm looking at my house. I'm in my little apartment here. And I remember all the time Mark would be in his little. I know these row homes. I know these places in Philly. They're 2-story, 3-story row homes, and Mark's sitting in there constantly putting out his content in his bedroom or in his office. I don't know which one it was, but I could recognize it, and gave me the feeling that I could do this stuff too. But when I started to hook up with the information that I was listening to, that's when it all started to click in with Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's when my podcast, Anonymous Addiction, My Truth About AA, as Bobby C sees it. I have a private group on Facebook. I have on YouTube, I have Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast, which I have probably about 160 videos there. Check me out on Instagram. I like to get on the other platforms sooner or later. And we just put up uh, uh, just put up the link there, Anonymous Addiction on Linktree. I appreciate that, Fred. And I just want to keep on growing, keep on getting information. I always say, look, I'm in recovery. First of all, I have to uncover. I have to uncover stuff that's been a lie, you know. So I'm uncovering. I'm working through this escaping of the matrix. I'm uncovering. I'm recovering the true nature of truth, natural law. I'm recovering, and I'm discovering all these different things about life, about myself, about society, the world, the universe. So I consider myself a philosopher, research journalist. Really look it up. That's what we all are. We do our own research. We become research journalists.
Sure, absolutely.
And you know what? I'm not. I consider myself. Look, if I was indoctrinated with the colleges to become a professional addiction counselor,
A
or,
problem with
or,
it.
or my own observational journey experience in this journey of life, because I'm constantly have this thirst for knowledge and learning more about myself, the self, which we all know it comes from ourself. I just did a podcast, just put it out on YouTube about, I say I am God, I am this God. Okay. We are this God. We are this power. We're higher power. We are this higher self. Everything is, everything will be. I am who I am. It's just like if Jesus said, "I'm the way." When I look in the mirror, I say to myself, I am the way, you know, I am the solution. I could say I'm the cure. Okay. So I believe in all that stuff. And one great network has helped me tremendously, among other things, among a lot of other things. I check out a lot of new addiction programs, methods, modalities, and a lot of the stuff I see is spontaneous remission is almost, it's almost like it comes from us. Most treatments, this is what I found to be true. This is what not what I believe, but this is what I believed. This is what I found to be truth is that most treatments, if you go to a priest, you go to a treatment center, you go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, wherever you go, it's a placebo effect.
Hmm.
Because actually, it's not the treatment, it's our belief in the treatment. So it's coming from us. That's the secret that they want to keep us. They want to keep us in the dark, thinking that we don't have this power, which we do. We possess this power. Well, back to you, Fred. You have are we live? Is there any comments coming in?
Yeah, so I'm gonna mention it because uh, I didn't say it. So if people who are listening, you have questions about what we're gonna talk about, just send them via the message on YouTube, and I'm gonna try to remember to check on Facebook for the question there. I know there are some people who are uh, watching on Facebook, and yeah, we're interactive here. We try to include the people. So if you have question or any comments, here we go. So there's one thing I wanted to touch with you because it's right in your line of work, and it's addiction as a whole. And what is the where does it come from? How it starts, and how do we deal with that as individual and in the masses?
Well, if we go to cause and effect, I consider it's a habit. We create these habits. People say addiction. Everybody's addicted to something. Hmm, no, maybe it just look. There's addictions to alcohol, drugs, pornography, social media, eating, sex, gambling, process addiction. People don't talk about process addiction. Gambling is a process addiction. I believe this is what I believe. I believe in autonomy. Okay, autonomy is the ability to make independent, informed decisions without coercion. Okay, but here's the tricky part. Okay, the act of compelling someone to act against their will through the use of threats, force, or other intimidation behaviors. It can also include acts of manipulation or persuasion that don't involve force, intimidating behavior that puts someone in fear of the consequence. Some people say, well, that's not coercion. It's not, they're not being coerced into going to religion. They're not being coerced to go into Alcoholics Anonymous. But if you really look at it, and if you go back in history throughout years in the 1800s, when Magnum Huss, Benjamin Rush, they came up with the disease concept, coined the word alcoholism. It was a problem back then, and it's a problem today. Addiction is a big problem. There's no question about it. It's a big problem because we're so the indoctrination, the propaganda, the mind control, the brainwashing is subtle. It's osmosisly given to us, subliminally given to us through, of course, media, Hollywood, government, corporations. You know, we can talk about volunteerism. You know,
Yeah,
volunteers. Be careful of be it volunteer. Where are you really volunteering, or are you coerced, or manipulated, or subliminally uh, programmed into doing this volunteered thing for a cause. Let's take cancer, diabetes, whatever, whatever cause you feel that is that coming from you, or has something else took over your thinking and you're just repeating programmed messages? Be careful of that. I always say people have the right to choose whatever substance they choose. They have the right, autonomy. Okay. That's the freedom and power of choice. I believe in it. I don't believe in prohibition. No, I believe in the power of choice. But when autonomy, we say do no harm, right? Anarchists, do no harm. Okay. When addiction, look, if you want to use recreational marijuana, recreational cocaine, if you want to use alcohol, recreational, whatever you want to do, that's your choice. But when autonomy comes spills over to harming others, like when you're drinking and driving, when you're really down in some booze, you're at the bar, you drink 5, 6, 7 rum of Coke, you go drive. You, it's not autonomy. You're doing harm. You possibly can do harm to others by creating an accident and death. Okay. And then you get the DUI. That's cause and effect. You drink too much, you go out in a car, the effect is the accident, the consequence is the DUI. So, yeah, everybody has the right and the freedom with autonomy. But when it spills over to where you're doing harm to your family, your spouse, domestic violence, gambling, process addiction, you're using everybody else, you're using your money instead of going to your children and your wife and your kids and your family. It's almost like suicide. Suicide, people will say, if somebody commits suicide, it affects a lot of people. It's the same way with certain addictions. When addictions become problematic, I don't use the word alcoholism anymore. I don't use the word alcoholic. I don't use the word addict. I I kind of do away with these stigmatizing words that the government, the war on drugs, and all that other bullshit created. All these words were created years ago. I believe we pick up and the drug, the alcohol, the gambling, the sex, the porn, the social media becomes an addiction. Then when it becomes an addiction, it can become very problematic for ourselves, our family, and society. We have to take a look at that. There's many other things I want to talk about today, but
Yeah.
I wanted to get that out.
So I just gonna add on that it's right on point, at my opinion, and but there's some conditioning that comes from the family unit, the tutor, and family, and their habits and their behaviors that can influence people in the long term, because children will blame themselves if their parents are harming them or harming themselves. So there's a cesspool of hurt and confusion and chaos. So these are seeds that are implanted in the mind of the children. So your father was drinking all the time, and every for you as a child, you think it's normal, and you don't really see the reality, how it really is. And this is one of the point. I mean, I have so many things that comes in mind. People, all my heart are with them. Um, this is an incredible vortex that sucks you in everything, and we're not talking necessarily about beer and liquors and things like that. It's gonna be, it can be benign things, but the banal, it's little things, that are in your behaviors, like smoking and video games and watching TV and little things like that, and you put them one upon them, and you build like stratas of disconnection, because it's all about ego identification. When I agree with you, we should get rid of these terms forever, because they are victimizing words. They're used to put you into a position or offering you an ego identification. It's the way to identifying yourself with the people surround you. In our case, and that maybe not me, but there's a lot of people who are gonna do this because of other people. They're not gonna do that for themselves, and this is where it's going wrong. No, it's all about
Yes,
yes, self-respect and discipline.
yes, the trauma, the childhood trauma. Um, Look, alcohol. Let me just, when I say alcohol, I'm talking about all the substances and all. Yeah, abuse comes in many forms: physical, mental, psychological abuse to children.
Mm.
Yes, they feel like they're at fault somehow. Well, in Alcoholics Anonymous, I don't want to get into it, but I have probably about 160 videos deprogramming certain things from Alcoholics Anonymous. And the reason why I do this, it's not the people. See, I don't down human beings, because we've all been programmed. Okay, so why should I uh, down the people? It's the organizations. It's society's indoctrination, society's propaganda, and society's brainwashing. Let's just talk about one thing. Pharmaceutical industries have been sued many a times. Me personally, let me just give you a little background. I came in and I said yes to help February 27th, 1984. Okay, this February 27th, I'll have 41 years of clean and not. I don't even use. I hate to use that. I don't even use those words anymore. See how it indoctrinated into my system, where it just comes out, where I live an alcohol and drug-free lifestyle. That's my choice. Now, that doesn't have to be everybody's choice, but that's the choice that I did. Okay, and I still do today. Do I worry about me drinking or drugging today? No, I don't. It's not even in my consciousness. I don't even worry about it. I don't even count time. The only reason why I know the day, it was a significant day back then when I came in. I attended Alcoholics Anonymous for over 30 something years. Okay. So I know the makings, the workings of this program. Why do they call it a program? It's a program. Okay. It's a program that they created a disease, disease, disorder. Now they're calling it a disorder. They're calling it alcohol substance use disorder in the DSM-5, DSM-5. They're calling it a alcohol use disorder. Yeah, it's a disease when we drink too much, gamble too much, take too much alcohol, drugs, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Too much porn. It creates a disease, a disorder in our natural being of our bodies, minds, and soul. Okay. In that sense, yes, alcohol, drugs, all these different things, they do create diseases. They can create other types of diseases in our body. But alcohol is not a disease. It's a made up movement. Rockefeller hijacked back in 1934, hijacked. Rockefeller took over Alcoholics Anonymous, and he had an agenda. He created it. But that's another whole story. But the disease was created. This disease model takes the responsibility away from the human being and places it into someone else's hands to save us, because Alcoholics Anonymous wants to give, they want you to give your will and your life over to their care. Now, we all know the eighth hidden principle, right? Care. Mark talks about that, and he talked about it, and I made extensive writings on care, and that's why I don't give my care over to anybody. I care whatever I care enough about, whatever I put my attention, wherever my attention goes, my energy goes, whatever I care about the most, that's what I manifest. You know, so be careful who you give your will and your life over to care of. But this disease concept takes the responsibility away from us. And here's another thing: it takes the responsibility away from the alcohol industry. Do you ever hear of any alcohol industries getting sued? Pharmaceutical industries get sued. We're still suing the asses, still suing, right? When was the last time the alcohol industry got sued? Because
Hmm.
it's not their problem, because it's so, see, the alcohol is so infiltrated into our society that it's a norm. You have a disease, you have a problem, you can't drink. But little Billy, but your daddy can drink. He don't have a problem, so he's drinking. Epigenetics,
Mm-hmm.
epigenetics, right?
Yeah.
Epigenetics is the study of how your behavior and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. Changes alter and the physical structure of the DNA, good or bad, you know. So yes, Fred, in our childhood, our uncles, I go over there and they be drinking. You watch shows, TV shows, propaganda. Hollywood was invented for for propaganda. That's why TV was TV. Television, we all know that. I mean, I'm talking about commonsensical things. I know a lot of the creators, they really get deep and they really get heavy, and I listen to them and I can understand. Uh, the weird part about it is I can listen to somebody with that's giving vocabulary. It's big vocabularies. Like, let's, Jordan Peterson, he's the circus of intellectual vocabulary, talking. But I can sit there and I can listen to any creator and talk about anything with all this words, all these language, all these words strung together, new words. I don't care whatever they are, but I can understand it in a commonsensical fashion. There's a thread that runs through it all, and it could be said very simplistic. Okay, so I believe in common sense. I believe in simplicity, but this disease model is taking responsibility away from the alcohol industry. You know, get a car crash, kill a family, alcohol industry, no problem.
Hmm.
Deaths, people die constantly through the diseases of cancer, uh, all the different liver diseases and stomach diseases and problems, mind, you name it. I think sooner or later we need to start suing the asses off of the alcohol industry. Even though, then we get into then we get into the thing where people will push back, and I don't debate any. I don't look. I'm not a debater. I'm not like an arguer. You want to believe what you want to believe. That's why I put my podcast out. That's why I'm on podcasts like with Fred, because we have like-minded things. And not that I wouldn't listen to other things. Yes, I would. But I'm not going to push them, and I'm not going to try to force my will onto them. Uh, they want to listen to my podcast, listen to it. If you get something from it, that's good, but I'm not going to push it. But the
Hmm.
alcohol industry is getting a big big pass, big push, big lobbyist in the government. We all know government is a religion. We all know religion is a cult. We all know government Satanism is evil. Uh, so it's how it's indoctrinated into the system through Netflix. Huh. Slow, subtle. You don't even know they're doing it, but I do. Okay, when I watch a Netflix movie, some people say, "Well, you shouldn't watch Netflix now because you're that's part of the matrix and all that." When I watch a movie, I can see things that other people can't see. I can hear things that other people can't hear. I know when I'm being manipulated, or I know when I'm hearing something where they're putting it on, especially about AA. You're to see all the stuff that they talk about in Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12-step meetings, the groups, the big books. They talk about the sponsors. I bet you on 60% of the Netflix movies, you'll see something about alcohol. That's how we're indoctrinated. Okay. Slow. Somebody come. Look, volunteer is someone who willingly offers to do something, especially to help others, without being paid or forced to do it. But like I said before, be careful. Is it really coming from you? You know, is it really coming from you, or are you being manipulated into something that you don't even know you're being programmed? Okay. Back to you, Fred, for a little break here.
So there's there's so many things that we can point out just about culture and the programming and all these things that are add up together, and they're forming a incredible dangerous prison, because the prison is inside your head. It's inside the head of people. So what I mean by that is we have so much information, or the lack of good information, that is destroying the network into society, the connection between the people. So advertisement, entertainment, music, all the stuff that you can take for having good time. Alcohol is one. There's many things that you can use to alter your consciousness. But it's not only about that.
No.
Most people are addicted to attention, validation. They're addicted to being with someone, codependence, they call it. So it's
Yes.
going deep into the psyche of
No, it's
humans.
deep. That's Yeah, that's where the shadow work comes in. That's where it's deep, and I've dove deep for many years. I went to
Hmm.
Coda. I went 40 years ago. I went to ACOA, Coda, all these different types, and they helped me uncover a lot of different things. They helped me uncover certain things about the nature of human behavior. That's what I love to study. Love studying human behavior.
Yes.
Okay, so it's helped me tremendously. Now, shadow work is the answer, of course. Mentalism is the answer. Look, the first hermetic principle is mentalism, and here's let me just say this real quick. Okay, by ignoring the negative, you are ensuring that more of it occurs. Now, Mark said that, of course, probably, or somebody else probably said it too. Okay. I don't care who said it first, who said it second. It doesn't matter. It's said, it's out here. I absorb it and I understand it. See, listening to words and understanding them is two different things. You might hear words spoken. You might, you can bring a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink, make the horse drink. Ignoring the negative. That's what happens today because people are in such denial of certain subtleties, like you're just talking about, the subtleties of things, the deep dive into the rabbit hole that goes deep and deep, connecting the dots and following the money. It's just like David Icke always talked about years and years ago, connect the dots, follow the money. Okay. So all these great people that come before us, Jordan Maxwell, okay, good old Jordan, RSP, Jordan. We learned so much things about all the hidden symbolic things and messaging from Jordan and stuff. But all these things, yeah, we have to talk about it because first of all, we have to understand that we are being programmed.
Yep.
If you don't understand it, if you just think, oh, I've been programmed with this one thing, now I'm good, I'm better, I escaped the matrix. It's deep, it goes heavy. I think Mark's going to be doing a big promotion seminar, I think at the end of the year, November, on, I think a lot of it, and it's a reasonable price. I think it's $70 for a 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. seminar. It's online. I wish it was in person, but $70. I mean, that's cheap for all his knowledge and all these creators coming in
Mm.
and talking about shadow work. Shadow work. Okay.
Yep.
That's where the cause and effect. We need to change the causality. We cannot change the effect, the consequences of the cause and effect, good, bad, or anything in between. Okay. So I if I think I'm done, then no. I'm still on this journey. Do I know? I think I'm pretty aware. I really think I'm really pretty aware of what the hell is going on. Sometimes I talk, I sound like I'm a little dumb. You know what I mean? And guess what? I probably am. When I was a kid, I didn't even know it back then. I suffered with dyslexic. I was dyslexic. And that's another coin. That's another label. But I
Hmm.
looked it up. I looked it up probably about 15 years ago, and I found out that I do have a lot of these traits that they labeled dyslexic, dyslexia, you know. And I'm okay with it because I found out it didn't keep me because I use other talents and other techniques and other ways. I don't have to be even though I am an academic intellectual, I am really. Okay, because you know why? Because I pursue knowledge. Okay, the one thing that I have, I don't know if anybody can relate to this. I hope somebody's listening live on this, and if not, we're going to be pushing this out, on different channels. I hope somebody can relate to the fact that I don't have to know. Sometimes I don't know. Like in my mind, before I do a podcast, I might be walking down the street and a stream of information comes in. It comes from the ether, really, I believe. This information comes from the ether. This doesn't really come from inside. I think it comes from outside. And it comes in a stream of information comes in to my brain. And it's almost like it's perfect. Okay. The only thing is I have to write it down because if I don't, it's gone. It leaves me. Now, other people that don't happen to, but to me it does. It leaves me. I have to write it down. If you looked at where I'm at right now, I have 10 different volumes of books that I wrote hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of information. I have stuff all over, and I keep logs of everything I do and everything I learn and everything I say. Someday I may put it into something, but it doesn't really matter. But the fact of the matter is, some like if I look back on my life when I was young, I knew natural law, universal law, and didn't even know. I didn't even have to have a name or language or anything to describe it, but I knew what it was. Knowing what I know today, I knew that, but I wasn't even told that. How? I don't know. Maybe I was born with something, this gift, and I was born with some defects and some maybe some gifts. But I've done some things knowing in young years in my when I was 18 when I graduated, and I knew certain things about the government back then. And I never could be an order follower. I couldn't. I'd if I was I'd have to give shit away. They would call me corrupt and they would call me not following orders. I couldn't be a cop, you know. So so let's couldn't be a government. Here's the deal. I worked in the government. Okay, I worked in the government for about 14, 15 years back in Camden County, years ago. But I didn't follow. I didn't follow the rules, man. Believe me when I tell you. Okay, I don't want to get into it, but I did not follow the rules. Order followers. People think they're not order followers. People think that you're not an order follower. Well, how about they got the public being rats and checking on everybody. Report this if you see this. If you see this bag, if you see this or that, report it. They're making us order followers, and we're doing their job. You know, so be careful when you think you're not an order follower. And oh, cannot go against the grain. They can't deviate. They cannot deviate 1 ounce away from what they've been taught to do. No common sense, no compassion. That's the problem in this earth, this world. Order followers.
You know, they have
Back
an
to you, Fred.
yeah, they have an expression for that. It's called necessary evil. The This
Yeah,
is one of the worst fucking retarded things I heard in my life, and every time I hear that from someone, I'm cringing so badly, you know, and preventing myself from getting very, very angry.
yeah. That's bullshit. We don't need to. That's not good. We don't have to. We don't have to conform to that bullshit.
And
That's
what I wanted to bring is identification by the ego, because you were talking about order followers and the master slave dynamic, that it's very important to understand. There's a double play there, and most people don't like to be bossed around. Most people don't like to be controlled or coerced or blackmailed. It's very natural. We have a instinctual disgust for evil, but like I mentioned, there are some people who are actually like that, but they're letting evil go rampant, or reproducing the patterns of evil, because this is the role they're playing into society. This is the name that they placard onto themselves, and they're bragging about the big salaries and these conditions and everything and all these things. And it's very important to stay rooted to the ground. We have to
yeah,
be bold realists. We have to. We cannot live into this 5 minutes attention span. Even less now. It's like 5 seconds or 10 seconds, something like that. So we're fighting against a weapon. This is a weapon. Information is weaponized. If you Even if you let people like me and Bobby and all these content creators and the people who pretend to do it for freedom, there's still programmings into that. There's still biases from the people experiences. They're gonna be emotionally involved into this for sure. and it's changed everything.
Yes. Yes.
What are the people? What the people will think about what I'm doing? About being bold and being truthful and not lying and pointing out all the inconsistencies of this incredible circus, this fucking freak circus freak of world that we have now. It's incredible. The work is huge. We need
Yeah.
more people. We need
Uh,
conscious, self-aware shadow workers. We have, and the only way that we can get out of this mind control is we have to inform people about what mind control is. What is culture? What is the state? What is government? What is violence? All these are basic things that most people should know. Like 99% of people should know these things. What is the use of the words? What is the meaning of the words that you use? Like you mentioned Jordan Maxwell. He was very, his presentations were very well worded. He chooses his word carefully because this is, and for the people, if you haven't started doing the shadow work, you're not going to help the cause or anything, because this is the basis of everything. If you cannot respect yourself, love yourself, have compassion, have respect for your own boundaries, you're not going to be able to have that for other people. It's impossible. So
that's right.
yeah, and all these lies, all these pretenses just around us, just
Yeah.
in your family around you, and your co-workers, and all these people that you have to bathe into their intentions, their energy, their bullshit, their lies, their deception. So it's, I mean we couldn't have enough time to even cover just a little bit of what are the schisms. And we're as humans, sadly, we are treating the wounds. We're not treating the cause of the wounds, we're treating the wounds. And this is what we're doing psychically, emotionally, and spiritually to ourselves. We're patching up. We're
Yep.
doing we're,
We're
we're
done.
putting
Yep.
another plaster on the
Band-aid.
wound. And
Yep. Yep. That's look, power, greed, money. CEOs are making, they're getting bonuses of $20 million. Do you think they're going to leave that and go check out the Mark's videos or our videos and learn? No, because they know more than us. Because power, money, evil. It's greed. It's look, people want to. They get their paychecks, they get their pensions, they get their insurance. It's very difficult for order followers to leave their positions. Not that it's not impossible. I'm just saying it's very difficult. Okay, so little by little, we see something happening where they just say, "Screw it, money." Money. Look, capitalistic society. I don't think the free market, the capitalistic this paradigm. There has to be a paradigm shift. There
yeah,
has to be a paradigm shift. And this is what all the creators and all the people throughout centuries have been trying to talk about, even, but this is what I see. And I think just alcohol, it was bad back then. The temperance movement, prohibition was
Hmm.
bullshit.
Yeah.
The prohibition, they figured they lost so much revenue, $30 billion in they figured, hey, bullshit with this uh, uh, prohibition, man. I'm going to take taxes in. It's just like cannabis. They said to themselves, oh, everybody's growing their own pot. Cheech and Chong had it right, man. Just share it, grow it, share it, and blah blah blah. You want some of it? Here it is for free. Oh no. So they had to tax it. Okay, so they had to make it legal throughout the whole thing, and then they call it autonomy. So you have the right to. I had the right. You had the right to grow the shit. You should have had the right to grow the stuff from the beginning.
Hmm.
Okay, if you would have had the right to grow your own cannabis in your backyard from the beginning, there'd be no problem. No, it's just like alcohol. It's just like they're going to legalize certain drugs, this drug, that drug. Pharmaceuticals going to make more drugs. DSM-5 and APA, the American Psychiatric Association, and the AMA, the American Medical Association, all created by the Rockefeller's Foundation years and years ago, and pumped in billions and billions of dollars to
Hmm.
do away with the holistic studies and all the holistic medicines and stuff like that, creating all kinds of diseases, disorders, and pumps in the psychiatric. They have no cure for the psychiatric, so they got to give somebody a different type of medication every week. And then so you're hooked on certain medication, you try to wean off, and you're having side effects. The side effects are the side effects of the medication. Okay,
Yeah.
so that don't work, so they're going to put you on another mid. Okay, so that works, and then you get these side effects coming off. Oh, they're dangerous. Don't watch the side effects. Don't get off of that. Instead of having some harm reduction management treatment where
Hmm.
you delve into the trauma and the shadow work, where a treatment center could do the whole body, mind, and soul holistic study on a human being, instead of just they don't have no answers. I feel sorry. This touches close to home to me, okay? Because I know this. I'm affected by it, by family members and people I know all the time. Okay, so knowledge is power, though. We may think, people may think we talk. Let's talk about some solutions. Well, the solution is mentalism. Go to the first Hermetic principle. If you want
Yeah.
the solutions, okay. We'll get into the solution, okay. Mentalism. Just reading the word. Just look at it. Read it over and over again. Thoughts lead to the manifestation of things and events. Our thinking. It's all about our thinking. Thinking Anonymous. They should have called it Thinking Anonymous, okay, instead of Alcoholics Anonymous. Uh, our thoughts lead to the manifestation of things and events. Thoughts create our state of existence and the quality of our experience here on earth. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe in, it can achieve. So be careful. Who's directing the mind? Okay. Who is programming? Is it you? Because ultimately we all want to create our own programs, right? Okay. Do you want to give your will and your life over to somebody else's care, like the government, Hollywood, religion, or Alcoholics Anonymous? No. Is that somebody? Somebody's got a
Yeah.
little comment there. Therefore, be responsible for everything you create by being responsible for everything you think, do, feel, and say. Awareness. I always say, think, question, observe, and
Yeah.
become aware. And become aware. These simple things. Think, question, observe, and become aware. The mind ultimately directs and manifests all changes in our environment for better or worse.
Hmm.
Okay? Whoever is directing the mind is also engineering the change. Be careful who's directing your mind. That's
Yeah.
just the first Hermetic principle. Come on. I mean, that's not
And
too difficult to understand. Practice? Yeah, practice.
thought,
It's
emotion,
all
and action.
practice. Hmm.
Yeah. The
Is
Trinity.
somebody commenting down there, Fred? I
Yeah.
thought
I'm
I seen
gonna
a comment.
read Theolux one. Nobody has ownership over your own body. You can use whatever you want, and if they want to punish you for that, you have to identify as a sovereign living man and not a citizen, and they can't touch you.
No, they can't unless do no harm, unless you're harming
Yep.
others.
Yep.
Okay. So if you're harming others with your practices that you think is autonomy and autonomous and sovereign and self-righteous, if I'm not talking to this person that just commented, I'm talking to the audience.
No
Just be
problem.
careful. Just be careful of that. Uh, you know, we have to really dive deep into that. Okay, because if we're harming, see, denial goes deep. It's a cause and effect. If you don't understand cause and effect, okay, and the consequences of it, that's deep. That's deep, but it's commonsensical too. It's all our actions, what we say, what we do, what we think, what we put out there every moment of the day. It's almost like Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body. He talks about the power of now, because that's all we have is right now.
Yeah.
So how am I reacting when my wife? Hey, I'm still at fault. Okay, I'm still working on myself. When my wife pushes a button, boom, and I respond. Today, before I respond, I had to take a step back and just look. What just happened here? Most of the time, I do it after. Okay, and I respond in a very not healthy way, and then I step back and look at it too. I say, "What the hell did I just do again?" But I'm doing it quickly. See, I'm doing it
Yeah.
quickly. I'm not in denial. What I am is in programmed from the pain body of childhood. Okay. So I had to look at that. That's the deep shadow. That's the deep work.
Yep. And it's so important. I even for myself, and after all these years, it's not easy. I keep on having these ups and downs with the shadow work and self discovery. But every time you're doing a step forward, it's very empowering to be able to empty these bag of heavy souvenirs or things that your brain decided to put aside for a reason to protect you uh, in the now, and we have to confront all these shadows or demons that we have inside of us. And I repeat myself a lot about shadow work because this is what I cover here on the LIBERcast. I did a lot of different approach to it, and the task of shadow working is not to get rid of this darkness, is to make amend and learn to live with this darkness. You cannot get rid of it. It's impossible. But you can shake your hand and work with it at your advantage. Sure, it's not easy. It's going to be relative to from people to people. Some people have suffered a lot. Uh, Other people a little bit less, and it's very relative. But it's very very important that people start doing the work, because where the this is where it begins. This is where you root yourself. You're actually rooting yourself into reality and being able to look into the stars and in spirituality, in the invisible, in the occult, in natural law, and the discovery of what this world is made of. What are the laws that are governing us? We maybe some people don't like it that we have laws that govern the consequence of behavior, but consequentialism is what it is. There's something happening, then there's consequences, cause and effect, and it's in every aspect of life. Every time you take some decisions that you're making a move or something happens, there's always a reason. Coincidence does not exist.
Yeah, just
Everything.
just getting back to that comment that gentleman or
Yes.
lady said. I don't want to deny that what they said is true. So I'm not. I wasn't rebutting that statement
No,
or
no,
that comment.
sure.
It is strictly true what they said. So I agree with you 100%. I just added something to it. Yeah, cause and effect. Look, plane of causality, the mental world, because mentalism, the mental world. This is where causes are set into motion prior to manifesting as formed realities. The plane of causality constitutes the causal factor, the why, which underlines and precedes things and events. All power to effect change lies on this plane. Now I took notes and all when I do a lot of when I check out a lot of Mark's seminars, and when he has so many YouTube videos, you go back there and you kind of look at them, you study them, but to know that, to read it and say it is two things, but to know it in your body and understand it is is two different things.
Yes.
You can read it, you can spout the shit out and talk to people, but if you don't understand it and look at yourself when it happens, then you're not doing the shadow work. All you're doing is mouth, this here. The effect, we could change the cause. The effect has happened. It's happened. It's reality. It's done. It's the past.
Yeah.
Power lie. There's no power lies there. We all know that. This is all elementary, basic. I have several. I have several writings on shadow work. We could do one just on shadow work because
Sure.
I think that's what's needed. But this is what I learned. Some people are quicker than others. Some people learn quicker than others. Me, it's always been a slow, osmosisly slow process for me to think that I could understand all this shit like this. People say, "Oh, I know all this now. I'm a natural lawist. I know I could do the studies and I could talk this." Bup, 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 bup. Are you living it? Are you
Absolutely.
living it? Okay, that's the question. Do you live it? Now, we're human beings. We're gonna screw up. We're gonna fail.
Yeah.
We're gonna always do this stuff. But are you looking at it? Are you becoming aware? Are you taking a look at yourself? When somebody comments on my pages, they comment back. I don't. I rarely ever say anything back. Rarely. I might just say, "Well, thanks for sharing," and blah blah. I don't say anything back because there's so many people out there that are just waiting for a debate. They're just waiting for an argument. They're just waiting to criticize something you say. You could say something beautiful. What do they say? They take this whatever. Say something beautiful. Don't pick out one thing, one word, one thing that you put out. And I say to myself, damn, they can't see the forest through the trees. Can't you see the goodness instead of picking out the one little thing that you might not like in with what has just been said? You know, comments. I get comments. One comment was, if addiction. You need help. AA and NA can be a big part of that, and it's voluntary and free. See, this is what I alluded to earlier about volunteerism. So be careful what you think. See, Alcoholics Anonymous is all about volunteered slavery, certitude, servitude. Servitude is slavery. Okay, so are you being in service, or are you being a slave to something? Okay, Alcoholics Anonymous asked you to give your will, your life, and your care over to them, God, this God of their understanding. And it's not free. It's not free. You're giving up your identity. When you raise your hand and you say, "I am an alcoholic," I am one of the most powerful words in the universe. Okay. Is that free? Is that freedom? No. Okay. So this gentleman or lady or whatever, I don't comment back to him. Listen to one of my podcasts when I talk about it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying who that was from. It doesn't matter. It's just you'll get comments like that over and over again. Stuff like, sounds more like government than religion. No one can force you to support a religion. No one can support you to support a religion. Religion is the biggest indoctrinated system in the world.
Mhm.
Okay, um, religion. Look, I wasn't born a Catholic, but my mom passed on Catholicism to me when I was born. I did all the Catholic rituals. I wrote them all down: confession, catechism. I did everything I was supposed. Baptism, all that stuff. So I know what indoctrination is. Uh, can No one can force you to support a religion. No one can force you. Well, I wasn't forced, but it was subtle coercion.
Hmm.
Okay, it was manipulative. It's indoctrinated into the system. In God we trust. What's on the dollar bill?
Hmm.
Forcing me. It's a sub. It's everywhere. So that to me, this is me. That to me is false. These comments, when I look at them, they're not true statements. They're false. That's where it goes. That's where a person stops and thinks they have it, but they're not going deep enough. Okay. We have to go deeper. Okay.
Oh yes.
We have to go deeper.
And by the
And
way, for the
like
people
Mark
who, and
says, Mark,
I can
Mark,
add
Mark,
on what you were saying about religion, the pharma and medical and the hospitals are places of cult. There are priests.
of course, of course,
Politics, same thing.
of
You
course.
have the priests that are, they have these, I don't know how you call it, I cannot remember, but they have the fucking three-piece suit, and they're saying words and they're moving their hands and things like that. So it's all the same, the doctors have white coats, the religious folks there, some have a robe, some have no robes, and they're just different priests from a religion. And religion is,
That's right.
government is definitely a religion,
Yep.
and we're definitely forced into it, and
Yep.
they do not require our consent to introduce us into the grinds of this machine.
Yep. That's how
You are
subtle it came.
indoctrinated in it.
That's how. If it's not subtle, they think it's oh, coercion is forced, and this is definitely coercion, but this isn't. Okay, so
Yeah,
they're they're. It's like they're missing. It's invisible to them because it's not obvious, because you have to go deeper and connect all the puzzle. If you're not connecting the puzzle together, then you'll miss it. Okay. So once you see it, like they say, you can't unsee it, but the puzzle keeps, you put the pieces, keep on putting the pieces together, and it's a perfect puzzle. It becomes so, to us, it's simplistic, it's easy to see.
yes,
We can't be, it's almost, it sounds like you can be egotistical about um, these things when you talk. Oh, Bobby, you know so much. You're a dumb son of, you're a dumb son of a bitch from Jersey right over the bridge. What do you know? You're really not that intelligent. You don't have no college degrees. Thank God, college is just an indoctrinated system. School is indoctrinated, so is college. Okay, unless you're going for something specific. Okay, specific what? You're going to be a lawyer? Okay, a lawyer isn't a priest. A lawyer, a judge. You can be a judge. A judge is a priest too. You're going to be a doctor, the priest with the robe. Man, we got to go deep. The ego, there's ego is could be a healthy thing. You need ego. The self-esteem, it gives self-esteem, it gives
sure.
confidence, it gives ability to pursue goals. It's good for psychological well-being. It's natural and balanced. It's when the ego gets inflated and you have all this blowed up pride and denial, and you're really in a delusion. It's a illusion delusion. Okay, uh, it's an illusion. We live in a illusion. The matrix is a delusion, an illusion.
Yeah, super ego is the one.
So
This is the face
once you
where
want, yeah,
this. Sorry, I there's a little
no, go.
like, yeah. So the super ego, the ego is something that is part of you. This is the thing that makes you realize that you're all, that you're a person, that's your stuff. This is your personality. This is your whole being is there. And I'm not saying that every part of yourself is going to be there, but the self realization that you exist in this world is the ego. So you have the super ego, is the face, is the mask that you wear when you are outside. So the super ego is the the acceptation, the validation that you get from the outside. How do I behave with other humans, and why and how and who give you this personality that you're creating? It's very important to distinct these two things. There's ego that you're born with it, and children are learning through the ego, the existence, to just shorten that because it's way more deeper than that. But when the children is in contact with this ego, it begin to build itself, himself or herself, to being a human, a part of the pack. Let's say it like that. And then you have the superego, is the persona that you're gonna develop with the interaction of the outside world, your environment, your education, your family, your friends, etc., etc. And it's going on like that. So this is the one there that is gonna keep fucking pounding in your heads things that are not true. This is the validation things. Oh, if I do that, I'm gonna lose some friends, or I'm gonna, if I say things like that, or if I change of my job, my wife is gonna quit or something like that. There's always modification and motivation behind the desire and intentions. So I try to uh like resume a lot and trying to do a one bite, but there's so much factors and things that have influence. So when you're into the shadow work, you're actually negating the super ego. You're actually taking it and put it aside and trying to get back to this true being you are inside of you, the
The authentic,
respect, the
yeah,
love, the compassion, and things like that for
the
yourself.
authentic self that
Yes, absolutely.
we take from the child. You know, we what do? We harm that in children. You know,
Yep.
we tell them this, don't do this, don't think that way, because we're programmed, so we're going to program them. Just like my mother, she didn't know. She passed on her Catholicism and thought she was doing the right thing because she generational programming.
Yep.
Uh, we're heading on an hour and a half, Fred.
Yep.
I think we'll probably
Absolutely.
do a couple more minutes if you want to wind up. It's 7:26 right now. I
Sure.
really appreciate you having me on. We could talk forever about this stuff, but I
Yeah.
hope the audience, I hope the audience gets a feel that look, we're not, I'm not, we're not better than anybody else. We're just
Absolutely.
sharing some things that we discovered, observational experience. We're sharing some things that we discovered to be true, objective truth in life, in universe.
Yep.
And we try to do our best. We're not perfect. We're human beings being human. And I just
But
hope everyone a great uh, day today. And I hope we get more. There's the link right there. Check us out on Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming podcast, and check out the LIBERcast over there on YouTube, and check Fred's Facebook page. He's probably on a bunch of other um, social networks. And I got to get on more of them too. But
Yes. Well, yeah. It was a pleasure to have you, and it was like maybe a year and a half ago or something like that. It was a long time ago. And life is moving fast, brother, and we have responsibilities. And I in these times right now, I'm very busy with the in the outside world and taking care of my family and my children, and and dealing with fucking winter. Fucking
yes, you
icy,
have it.
snowy roads
Yes,
outside,
you
and
you
being
have it up there.
careful, people. For the
Yeah,
people who
yeah,
are, in North America ish, Canada. Here in
yeah.
Quebec, it was so bad 2 days ago. But you know, winter. I would fucking miss winter if I wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Miss freezing.
Oh
You know.
man. I know. I feel guilty. I feel guilty over here. I'm over here in Huntington Beach, California, and we get pissed off when it's 50, 60
Oh my
degrees out, and we want it to be sunny. We're sport. That's okay because I choose to stay here. This is my choice right now, and because
yeah.
I like the sun for some reason, and them chemtrails keep them chemtrails. Please call your senators, your governors, your doctors, or I don't care. Talk about them chemtrails. Them son of a bitches. Is that is that capitalism or is that autonomy? They're allowing us. It's like the alcohol industry. We're allowing them to do that. What they're doing is disgusting. You know, these
Yeah.
chemtrails all over the sky, destroying our sky and destroying everything with the geoengineering, bioengineering, GMOs, and all this other
It's an
pesticide
all
shit,
other
and
subject.
it's crazy. Yeah. So
So
hey, appreciate you having me.
no problem. And for the people,
Appreciate you having me.
thank you for
Thank you,
being
everyone.
there. For all the people, thank you so much for being there. I know there's some people will listen it later, so you're welcome. And if you have comments, and if you want to partake into the LIBERcast, this is an open podcast, so you can contact me. And if you have information that you want to share, don't be shy, just contact me. My name is there. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Skype. I'm on Telegram. And you have my email address right on the YouTube, on my YouTube page. It's available there. So thank you so much for being there tonight and supporting all these content creators. One on Earth is happening.com is Mark Passio's website, where there's like an incredible amount of information, and the One Great Work Network.com for all the content creators. They are much alike us. We're covering sensibly the same stuff, and go discover that and do it for yourself. So thank you again. See you soon, people.
Thanks to all the One Great Network creators. Thank you.
Yes.